So we're going to start off with some seated breathing. This is a restorative Pilates class. It's not full on, full scale Pilates. It's about just going slow, reconnecting with your breath and your center. It's about having your eyes closed and focusing in on yourself, how you are in mind, body and breath today, and yeah, just enjoying a slow experience in your own body. So start with your eyes closed. And just settling into your mind, body and breath. Allowing the breath to come in through your nose and out through your mouth. And it just falls effortlessly out of your mouth. And each time you breathe out, you can allow your jaw to release a little bit more. Allow your brow to release and melt away. And we're going to do what's called progressive breathing, where we work on expanding and increasing the capacity of your breath, increasing the movement of the lungs, the diaphragm, the ribs. So we do that by inhaling for a count of 8 and exhaling for a count of 9. Inhaling for a count of 10 and exhaling for a count of 11. And then in for 12 and out for 13. And we do that together to my count so that we can connect more deeply with the breath. So taking a few more cleansing breaths. Let your belly soften. Allow there to be a pathway for your breath all the way down to your pelvis. Breathing in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then let your breath flow freely and easily. Feel the movement of your breath and the space that you've created in your body from increasing the capacity of your breath. And then gently now start to let the light come in through your eyelids and your eyelashes, and slowly blink your eyes open. Great. And then you're going to extend your legs out in front of you with your legs slightly apart, and we're going to do ankle and feet circles. So we do a lot in our restorative Pilates or pre-Pilates. We do a lot of work beginning with the feet because they're our foundation, we need them for good balance, and because of the connections and relationships from the feet up the body, particularly through the pelvis and the link from the feet to the pelvis. Change direction of your circle. That's it. And if you've been wearing shoes and on your feet all day, I thought this would be really useful. Get all the little kinks out of your feet, and then bring your feet together, legs together, and we're going to do the 4 sections of your feet. So this is where you flex your feet so your toes point up to the ceiling, and then you send the arches of your feet forwards without pointing your toes, and then lengthen your toes over without the toes crisscrossing over one another. And then you pull your toes back without your arches coming back, and then you bring your arches back. So you go arches forward, toes back, arches back. And if it's tricky to sit tall, you can always put your hands behind you for a little bit of support with your balance. And you can look at your feet when you do it to check, are they doing what you ask them to do? Often they don't quite listen as we'd like. This is the last one, and then we're going to do the bird on a branch. So we flex the feet and then curl your toes over as if you're holding on to a little branch, and then spread your toes. So you can imagine that you're holding a pencil across between both feet, and you don't want to break that pencil. And then spread your toes, bringing your big toes towards each other and letting all the other toes ricochet and spread away from each other, and then curl. Last time, spread your toes and then relax. Okay. So then we're going to sit legs crossed and make sure that you're upright on your sit bones on the base of your pelvis, that you're not dropping and sinking back, because really we want to be in the optimal alignment with your head balanced over your shoulders, shoulders over ribs, ribs over pelvis. And then you're going to side bend over, reaching your arm over to the side, and the hand on the floor is just gently pressing the floor away. So instead of sinking into it, you're going to send it away, and that creates more opening in the upper ribs. So here, as we hold this is the mermaid. You're going to expand your ribs every time you breathe in, like you're inflating a balloon underneath your ribs. So deep, deep breath into the ribs, like a balloon is inflating under your ribs in all directions. Last big breath into the ribs here. And then you're going to take that hand that's in the air and place it on the underneath shoulder in front. Then you're going to send that shoulder back behind you and turn your ribs to face the floor, your shoulders to face the floor. And you're breathing now into the back of your ribs. You're in a twist. We're wringing out and getting you into position to invite more movement and more breath into the back of your ribs. And then come back to the side stretch, and then all the way back up. Feel how twisty you feel having done one side and not the other. Hopefully you can feel when you compare one side to the other. And then we go over to the other side. So you've got your hand on the floor beside you. You're gently sending the floor away to create that oppositional lift in the top ribs. And we're just teasing out. We're just gently teasing out. So in this restorative class, we really think a lot about how the connective tissue in the body works. And when we feel a stretch, that's the body's mechanism. It's called the stretch reflex. And it's the body's mechanism of putting the brakes on that you're going too far. Whereas when we do movements where we just coax and tease out, we can make some really long-lasting changes rather than meeting ourselves and meeting that resistance all the time. Bring the top hand now to the back shoulder, send it back so that you're squaring your shoulders almost to the floor to create more emphasis on the breath into the back of your ribs. Your neck is long, so be mindful that your head's not falling toward the floor. And inflate that balloon into the back of your ribs. Great, and then come to the side, stretch there, and then sitting tall. Excellent. Now we get to lie down, so we start moving into the, do you feel the difference hopefully from one side to the other? That's always good to notice, yeah. Let's lie down onto your back on the mat. Your feet are flat, your knees are bent, and your arms are along by the side of your body. Bring your arms so that your palms are facing down. And just close your eyes and settle in. If you feel any strain across the front of your neck or shoulders, you can place a cushion or a folded towel underneath your head for some support. We're going to do a movement called pelvic clocks now. Place your hands on the front of your pelvis, so the heel of your hands on your hip bones, fingertips towards your pubic bone, thumbs towards your belly button. That's your pelvis. So your hands are on the front, but I would like you to focus on the rocking forwards and back movement more at the back of your pelvis, so your sacrum as it meets the mat. And you're just noticing with your hands on the front what your range of movement is. Do you go further one way than the other? Your sacrum behind you is a dish-like triangular shaped bone at the end of your spine, and it's the center of gravity in your body. It's your center point. So it's very important, because everything converges and everything passes by there, to understand where it is and how important it is in so many ways. And then rock the sacrum to level, balance it out. And then you're going to go from side to side. So one hip bone rises, the knees are quiet, and then the other hip bone rises. You're rocking straight across your pelvis, straight from side to side, yeah. And that circle then goes around. Okay, so your sacrum is circling round, massaging out the very end of your spine, and then change direction. So pelvic clocks is not officially Pilates. A lot of what we're going to do in this session is not officially Pilates, but it's moving in the direction of. This is actually borrowed from the Feldenkrais method, and we use a lot of that in the Polestar Pilates repertoire. Let's settle your pelvis so it comes to level and balanced. And then you're going to give yourself a lovely hug now. Wrap your arms around your body, reach your hands to your shoulder blades, and then gently rock from side to side. And as you rock your upper body, your shoulders, your ribs, your head from side to side, try and gently prise your shoulder blades off your ribs. So you're just using your fingertips to tease your shoulder blades off your ribs. Let your head roll and be free. All right, come to the center. Notice which arm is on top, which one's closest to your chin. Unfold your arms to the ceiling and then switch, so your other arm goes on top, and do the same thing again. And you can use your fingertips to just massage your shoulders. Where the bony edges are, that's where most of the tension is. So we can, just by gently touching those edges, we can release that tension. And then rock that to the center. Unfold your arms to the ceiling and feel just how amazing that is. You're so broad across your shoulders. You feel easier. Feel the back of your ribs and shoulders, hopefully, a little bit more on the mat.
Then we're going to do some arm arcs. So to help emphasize that mobility in the shoulders now, taking your arms over your head, allowing your shoulder blades to fill your armpits. And then like a vacuum, your arms come back into your armpits and your arms come back to face the ceiling. That's it. Keep your palms facing each other all the time as you do it. They go as far as you can without your ribs lifting off. And they won't need to, because you've just found your ribs and found the movement potential of your shoulder blades. We'll just do one more. So this helps us to differentiate the movement at the shoulder from the movement at our spine. Brilliant. Bring your arms down when you've finished your last one. And again, rest your hands on your pelvis for a moment and just feel how everything has already shifted and changed. We're going to do a little release for the front of your neck, because lots of us are suffering from tech neck and looking at screens more than we would have normally. Bring your arms down by your side with your palms facing the floor and just a little bit of space, like a V shape with your arms. And start to roll your head from side to side across the mat. If you have a cushion, you can take it out. Just let your head be free. Now we're going to start to include an arm movement. As your head goes one way, the opposite arm, you're going to turn your palm up and then turn it down as you come to the center. So it involves a bit of coordination, and then the other one. And really you're spiraling your hand and your arm as far as you can. So it doesn't have to be just palm up, because you might find you can go a bit further and feel a lovely lengthening through the side of your neck and the front of your chest and shoulders. And like we said before, it's a teasing out rather than a forceful. Let's just do one or two more. This you could do seated, or you can actually do it standing with your back against a wall. So if you're, if you're working and you could just have a minute, stand against a wall and just help to release your neck, and then come back to the center. All right. So take your left leg and stretch it out along the floor, along the mat, and you're going to lift your right leg up into a bent position so the foot comes off. Grab onto your right knee with your right hand, and all we're going to do is stir, like stirring a pot of melting chocolate in your hip socket. All right, so in the socket, nice and easy and gently. And as you're stirring, can you also be aware of your sacrum that we talked about before? So when you circle, it's not moving your sacrum with it, it's dropping deeper into the mat. Go ahead and change direction. So your sacrum drops into the mat, that's it. Last circle, and then place your foot down and then bring it back up again. So you're just rocking your thigh bone back and forth in the sockets. This is called a femur arc. Paying attention to your sacrum dropping down as your thigh bone rocks back in your socket. Sacrum down, thigh bone rocks back. You got it. Sacrum down, thigh bone rocks back. And then place your foot down. Well done. We're going to think about that again in a few minutes. So keeping that right knee bent, left leg straight, we're going to rock across your pelvis to your left hip, reaching your right knee forward and basically yawning open the front of your hips. So we do get a lot of tension through the front of the hips, and all of this is to help to really unwind that tension. So your right shin reaches forwards, really open out and yawn open the front of your hip. And then when you come back, your thigh bone drops back into the socket more. So we're letting go of some of that tension we might be holding in the front of our hips. Let's do just one more. And then rest there. So now straighten your right leg. This is the fun bit. Straighten your right leg out and feel the difference. Take a look, see how much longer your right leg is to your left leg. It's mad. Yeah. And feel probably like the back of your right knee is a little easier and closer to the mat. The front of the hip will certainly feel more open, and you might feel also more open at the side of the hip. So we definitely want to balance out, or you'll be walking in circles all day. So we bend in the left leg now, and you're going to lift it up, cup your left hand around the left knee, ready to circle. Super gentle and easy, and really imagine that it is a big pot, a big bowl of melting chocolate. That's it. We're going to want to eat chocolate after this, aren't we? I think we'll deserve it. Circling deep inside the socket. And as we said on the other side, and you might feel that it's different on this side, we want to move the circle without moving the sacrum, and then change direction. Can you circle that thigh bone in your socket without you moving your sacrum with it? You're not dragging your sacrum away. So you might need to think about the lengthening through the base of your pelvis. That's it. And let's make this the last one. Pop the foot down, and then roll the thigh bone back in the socket. Pop your foot down, and then roll it back. Drop your sacrum down into the floor as much as you can. Yeah, so that you're not lifting by your hip flexors. They're yielding and dropping back. You're actually finding length in the back of your body to help bring that leg up. And you're differentiating right leg from left leg and leg from spine. All right, place that foot down, and we'll do that funky side to side thing. Stand into the foot, reach your knee forward and open through the front of the pelvis, and then roll back again. So your left shin reaches forwards. It doesn't go over to the side. It's just your pelvis, and then rolling back again. Send your shin forward, yawn open the front of your hips, and your head can roll and it can also stay still. It's entirely up to you, whatever feels good. And the thigh bone drops back into your socket. Let's go one more time. Enjoy. Get excited about this leg now going to be the same length as the other one. So then you can stretch your legs out. Hopefully you'll feel really nice and open in both hips, and the back of your knees nice and long and open. Brilliant. All right, we're going to do some bridging now. Bend your knees, bring your feet just a little bit closer to your bottom, not so close you don't have to reach with your fingers. Want to feel like the joint is at ease at the beginning. It's very important that we start in a place where there is potential for movement. So standing into your feet and sending your shin bones forwards, so that again the front of the hips will yawn open without overly clenching your bottom, and then melt down. Let your spine just trickle back down. Bottom completely relaxes, so let your sit bones open like sliding doors, and then stand into your feet. Let your shins reach forward so that your pelvis takes off like an aeroplane gradually, rather than tucking and rolling or squeezing. And then use your out breath to let your spine trickle back down. It just melts. It doesn't need to roll, it just needs to trickle. This time we're going to add in, so you're going to come up. You're going to stay up there for a moment, and your pelvis is going to drop about an inch and then go side to side. So you stick your bottom out, the outside of your hip out to one side, and then out to the other. Out to one side and out to the other. And then continue doing the side to side, that's it, as you come down from your bridge. So side to side as you come down. And then we're going to go up again. So you stand into your feet, you go up in that normal way, and then you let your bottom relax and come down 1 inch, and then it goes side to side. So this is getting more movement up in your thoracic spine, between your shoulders, that kind of area, and then gradually coming down. And it's like, you know, when you put your duvet in the duvet cover and you have to shake it out to get to the corners. That's the idea. You're moving your pelvis to shake out your thoracic spine. All right, well done. Clasp your hands behind your head now. We're going to do the butterfly. So when you clasp, make sure that your fingers really come closely interlaced, and then you receive the weight of your head. Let it yield into your hands. We're going to do elbows up to the ceiling, and then elbows out and down to the floor, or as close as you can make it, of course. Reaching out and around, and then reaching out and down, out and around, and then out and down. And then go ahead and find the middle point where you sort of see your elbows in your peripheral vision. You can feel like your shoulder blades are holding your ribs, not winging or hanging out. You're active in your ribs. And then you're going to take your gaze down your cheekbones, and you're going to roll up your spine from the other end and then roll back down again. So like the bridging, we're articulating, but we're going from the other end. The idea here would be to lengthen. So can you make your spine longer rather than shunting down or scrunching? That's it. Look at your pelvis when you come up, and then slowly come down. Look at your pelvis and slowly come down. And make sure you're breathing just however it serves you. It doesn't matter too much right now for the purpose of this class. One last one. Look at your pelvis. And there we go. Now we're going to do the elbow movement again, but we're going to do one elbow at a time. So one elbow comes up and it rolls you over a little bit. And then the other elbow comes up and it rolls you over a little bit. So the elbow leads and your head just rolls. And then once you get into a rhythm of it, you can look at the elbow behind you. It's a really great way to get rotation into your spine, because rotation is something, this kind of movement, it's not something we do enough of. Everything is forward and back, isn't it? We ride a bike, we do all the sagittal plane movement at computers, all of the things. So the rotation is very good because it rehydrates our discs, and we so need that, especially as women. We need it to make sure that we maintain healthy bones. Just do a couple more, enjoy it. It's like getting a bit wrung out. And then, still with your hands behind your head, you're just going to roll over onto your side. And we're going to go into more rotation, this time from side lying. So you're going to roll across and take your gaze behind you, and then roll back again. Your head is heavy, so just let it roll across your hands and unfold, and then roll back again. Roll, and then roll back again. Just do one more, gazing all the way back, and then gazing all the way forward again. Now you're going to do a movement with your leg. Keep your hands exactly as they are. We're going to just slightly lift your top leg up, and we're going to do the femur arc that we did when you were lying on your back. So you're just moving your thigh bone forwards and back, deep into the hip socket. And we were thinking about where our sacrum is. So is your sacrum staying in the middle? And you can even put your top hand there if it helps you to feel it. Sometimes we sort of think we know where it is, and we think we know what it's doing. And it's when we feel it that we get that it's gone rogue. And then clasp both hands behind your head again, and we're going to combine. So as your leg comes forward, you roll back. So you're coordinating that thoracic rotation with your femur arc. Your sacrum is that center point. And of course the challenge here is that we don't feel it on the mat like we did when we were lying on our back. So it's a more challenging position. This is the last one. And then we're going to unfold the leg and unfold the top arm in front, and we're going to continue. So we're doing the same movement, we've just lengthened out the limbs. So the arm goes back as the leg goes forward and vice versa. Your head still rolls freely, free and easy. And your sacrum is still in the middle, and it, of course, the longer the lever length, the more challenging it is. This is your last one. That's good though. And then you're going to fold back in again. Now the top hand's actually going to come on your top hip. We're going to do a movement called leg winding. The top knee opens, and then the top foot lifts, the top knee closes, and then the foot closes. So it's a winding. So knee up, foot, knee down, foot down. That's it. So it's a winding. And even although I'm sort of naming it in parts, give it a bit of flow. Give it a little bit of flow. That's it. That's it. You've got it. So hopefully as you do that movement, feel a little bit of warmth, good bit of mobility through your hip. Last couple. One more. And then rest there. You can have a little rub where you might feel it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. So take your time settling in onto the other side. Clasp your hands behind, excuse me, clasp your hands behind your head again. And we start off with the thoracic rotations. Rolling across, allow your head to be heavy as it rolls into your back, your underneath hand, rolls across. Take your gaze, and then rolling back again. Your legs are heavy, but we're not forcing them to stay in position. That's it. And think about, like we said, with the bridging and the chest lift, that we're lengthening your spine out. It's so important. So even here, 'cause sometimes we come forward and we're like getting into fetal position. Want to lengthen out. Okay. Anyway, let's do our femur arc. So you stand into the bottom leg, let the top leg hover, ready to roll that thigh bone in your socket. You can put your hand on your sacrum, so if you need that guide to know whether or not you're moving your leg, yeah, and it really can be very helpful to feel that. Yeah. Then do the combination. So the leg comes forward, you rotate back and vice versa. Feel your thigh deep in your hip socket. And still the sacrum is in the middle. It's not getting pulled forward or back or up or down. That's your center. And then let's do the unfolding. So you've unfolded your leg and your arm, so the limbs are long and you're going forward and back. Reach your leg. So that's a little more tricky to keep the sacrum stable, so keep bringing your attention back there. It's almost like you've got to inflate your bottom like a balloon when your leg comes forwards. Let's just do one more. And then we can rest. Bend. Put your hand on your hip again, so we can do the unwinding or winding. So your knee opens, then your foot lifts, then your knee goes down, then your foot, and then you find a bit of flow in that sequence. I always think of it like a dolphin diving. It's got a real kind of diving, wave-like quality to it. Just do 2 more. Enjoy the warming in your hip. And then have a rest. Lie on your front and rest your head on your hands. When we come onto our front, we're compressing the front of the body, so it gives us an opportunity to breathe more into the back of your body. So use that chance now to just take some deep breaths into the lower part of your ribs, the lower back, and enjoy. And then we're going to do a movement called the half dart, and then we're going to do a full dart-ish. And this is very similar to the one we were doing when you were lying on your back, turning your palm and turning your head, except you're just going to keep your head to one side to start with. So if you put your left cheek down on the mat and your arms down by your side, it's going to be your left hand you're working with. So your left hand is going to start to twist and turn like you're opening a doorknob, and your left cheek gets heavier into the floor the more you twist your arm and lift your collarbone off the floor, and then untwist and put it down again. So you're twisting your arm, twisting and lifting your collarbone, and letting your cheek get heavier on the floor all the time. So again, it's finding length and opening through the side of your neck and the front of your collarbone. Such a great exercise. And it gives you a bit more here because it's against gravity than when you were lying on your back, but we've already teased it out a bit, so it'll be ready. Nice. Really opening. And then we can go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. So you put your right cheek on the floor, on the mat, and then it's your right hand that's turning that doorknob and twisting your arm all the way as far as you can, lifting your collarbone off the floor, and then untwisting all the way back down and kind of flopping. And each time just let your cheek get heavier, creating more length through the side of your neck, through the sternocleidomastoid is the area, and a bit more. But it's also great to get the collarbones moving and release any tension that might be there, because your lungs attach underneath there, so it can be really amazing how much more breath you feel like you can get after doing this. So that's another great benefit. Make this your last one, and then we're going to come up with both arms. So both arms are going to twist, and you're going to let your head just float to the middle. So your arms have twisted, your chest is open, and you're just going to stay there for a moment. Open through your collarbones, the crown of your head is reaching forwards. And now turn your palms to face the ceiling. So your arms are straight, your chest is just lifted, and you're going to slowly press your arms up towards the ceiling and then slowly bring them down. Press them up. They don't have to come all the way down to the floor, they just levitate by the side of your body, and then they press up. And make sure you press from the top backs of your arms, not just your hands. If your hands push up, your shoulders go forward, so we need to press from the top backs of your arms. Let's just do one more, and then rest all the way down. Rest your head on your hands, take your legs wide in a V shape, yeah? And then you're going to aim to keep your feet as low as is possible and bring the soles of your feet together, and then take them out wide. So your head is resting down, you bring your feet together, but trying to really encourage them to stay low and then open them out. So your knees can reach away from each other as your feet come together. Let's do one more. So that was like frog's legs. Now we do where we're hen-toed. So your knees turn, you bring your legs a little bit closer together, your knees turn in towards each other. And you take your feet out wide. And again, so you're bending your knees, but can you keep your feet really low? So they almost brush the floor like they're coming up towards your shoulders. And you can keep reaching your knees towards each other. And this is going to let your thigh bones spin in more. We're going to massage out any tension that might be held around your knees. We don't even realise sometimes until we do something like this and you feel the kind of knots and kinks there. And then it's also going to help through the hips and the lower back. Last one. And then bring your legs to sort of parallel. And notice then how easy your lower back is. So if you straighten your legs out along your mat and feel just how nice your lower back feels after that. Great. And we're going to do a little exercise called baby loops now, where we're doing almost, it's quite an animalistic movement. So lie with your head in the center, arms in a diamond. And as you breathe out, that out breath is going to carry your head to look all the way over your shoulder towards your feet. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, that creates length and carries your head around to look the other way. And again, the out breath helps you to lengthen forwards because we're emphasizing again the importance of creating length, creating space between all of your vertebrae in your spine. Just doing a couple more. It's very animalistic, bug-like, isn't it? Well done. And then push back into a child's pose. You're taking your bottom right back towards your heels and then grab onto your heels. So your head is down, hands are on your heels. So this is more in Pilates, we would call this more like Joe's pose. It's like it's not a yoga one, it's called Joe's pose. And what we would do here is every time you're breathing in, breathe into your lower back, let your lower back rise to the ceiling and then sink down. Breathe in, let your lower back rise like there's a helium balloon attached to your waistband. Picking you up towards the ceiling and then breathing out and sinking down. Just do that one more time. Coming on to all fours now. We're going to have the hands, have your hands like spread like starfish and you're going to have them underneath your shoulders. Your knees are underneath your hips and your gaze is going to be slightly ahead of you at the beginning. We're going to do a cat stretch, nice and simple. You're going to lengthen your tail and the crown of your head away from each other to create that curve. And then send them away from each other to lengthen out without letting your middle go. So you don't want to let your belly button fall on the floor, you're lengthening through the middle. And then you take your tail and your head out and around so they go the furthest journey away from each other. And then they go away from each other again in the other direction to find the natural curves of your spine. Don't let your belly button fall out. And then one last curve and we're going to stay in that curve. Tuck your toes under once you're in your lovely curve and bring your hands a handspan closer to your knees. So you're staying in the cat stretch, you're just shortening the distance between your hands and your knees. And now we're going to rock back and forth, deepening the curve. So you're really keeping your tail under like a naughty dog with its tail tucked under. And you're rocking back and forth. This is a great way to find length through the lower back, length into the back of your pelvis, and really wake up and invigorate the pelvic floor and the center of your body. Last couple. Okay, super. And then we're going to come to sitting for spine twist. So sit with your legs crossed, have your feet flexed so your feet aren't just flopped, they're active, so it's going to help you to sit fully upright. And then put your hands on your sternum if you can, and then just very gentle, looking over your shoulder all the way, and then looking all the way over your shoulder the other way, and just continue going gently one way and then the other. And look for a smoothness in the movement, and that your shoulder blades are still kind of falling down the back of your body, not up in your ears. That's it. Okay. And then go to the right and stay around to your right so your body is twisted. And then turn your head to the left, keeping your body twisted. And then turn back to the right again with your head, and you'll be able to go a bit further. Turn your head to the left. And then you'll be able to go further when you look back. Once more, head only. And then look further. And then return to the center. And then you get that funky feeling of being wonky again. And then we'll go to the left. Stay in the left with your body and just turn your head to the right. And then it'll go further to the left. Head to the right. And then you'll get a bit further to the left. That's your last one. And then bring everything to the center. Okay, we're going to finish standing. So just making your way up to standing however it suits you. And then stand with your feet in what we would call Pilates V, where your heels are together. And then arcing your arms up and grabbing the back of your head, clasping your hands there like we did when we were lying down, so that the back of your head can fill your hands, and then lifting and lowering your heels. Keeping the heels connected to one another. So your heels are going to go up and forwards. You can keep your balance. Up and forwards. That's it. Up and forwards. And then we're going to come down, so the hands stay there, and you're going to side bend over to one side, hands stay there, side bend over to the other side, and then you're going to lift your heels again, stay lifted with your heels, and you're going to side bend there, and back up, side bend there, and then back up, stay up, and you're going to spine twist. And then spine twist. And then back to the center. Lower your heels. Bring your arms down by your side and just close your eyes for a moment. And check in with yourself now as we come to the end of the session. Noticing how you feel in mind, body and breath.